Now live, Congressman Adam Schiff. This is his first interview since the mob of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol. Congressman, I want to begin with how it was for you on that day and your thoughts about it as it was happening.
Well, I was one of four that were helping to manage the debate on the floor, the discussion during the session when we broke into the different houses. And I wasn't able to follow what was going on outside because I had such an active role. The first that I got wind that things were going really wrong was when the speaker was whisked out of the chamber and the majority leader was rushed out of the chamber. That was followed by an announcement that people had broken into the Capitol. But we didn't have a sense of how many, how close, how dangerous, until, frankly, they started breaking glass, pounding their way, trying to get in. We saw Capitol Police pushing furniture to barricade the doors, guns drawn. You know, I never thought I would witness such a spectacle. And I'm just heartbroken that Capitol Police officer lost his life defending us. It just a terrible and tragic day and moment for this country.
The president's Twitter account has been suspended permanently. People are asking rhetorically and somewhat seriously as well if Twitter believes he's a threat based on his tweets. Is he not a threat based on being the commander-in-chief? And what are your thoughts about that and whether a fast-track impeachment should and can happen?
I think he is a real, clear, and present danger to the country. And I think every day he remains in office, we are at peril of further acts of rebellion or insurrection that are put in motion by this amoral president. So I think he needs to be removed. For the good of the country, he needs to resign. But of course, he's never been concerned about the good of the country. If the vice president and cabinet don't act under the 25th Amendment, we need to do everything in our power. So we need to begin impeachment proceedings, I think, as soon as possible. That is the method that is wholly within Congress's control. We need to move expeditiously because I think every day that goes by is a day that he threatens the welfare of our country and our democracy.
You were, of course, the lead House manager in the first impeachment, and you warned the nation at that time that he could be emboldened if he was acquitted. What are your thoughts now about what happened as a result of that?
Well, it's sadly all too predictable. This is really what we warned would happen. If he was left in office, he wouldn't stop trying to cheat in an election. He wouldn't stop trying to destroy our democratic institutions and the rule of law. This was all too tragically predictable. And I think that my Republican colleagues in Congress who have enabled him, more than 130 of which, even after the attempted insurrection, kept up the challenge on the election on the House floor, they are also responsible for this calamity. And so I think that this latest act of desperation by the president, enabled by people in Congress, is the worst offense of his presidency and more than justifies his immediate removal under impeachment or Article 25.
His removal would require a two-thirds vote of the Senate once the House brings the articles and formally impeaches him. That would require, I believe, based on who's been sworn in, it's either 16 or 17 Republican senators to vote for his removal. Has anyone, to your knowledge, done sort of the preliminary discussion or have an idea about whether that is possible?
Well, you know, I think we're seeing growing levels of alarm, even from members of the Senate that had voted to acquit Trump. Lisa Murkowski said today that she's done with him. He needs to leave office. I don't know how many other Republicans are expressing like sentiments. I would hope it would be all of them. Now, obviously, there are some craven enough to help bring this on, as we saw with the senators that supported the challenge to these electors, the baseless challenge to these electors. But I would hope there would be two-thirds. But I think that the House needs to move expeditiously. We need to do our part to remove this dangerous president.
You have served this country as a member of Congress and in other capacities throughout your adult life. And I want to know personally how it's affecting you, how it has affected you, the trauma of this week and what you have seen with your own eyes. what effect you believe it is having on this country and on the American people?
Well, I'll tell you, I felt a mixture of emotions on the day after this tragedy. Sadness over what had happened to our country, that for the first time we don't have a peaceful transition of power. Anger with my colleagues who have been propagating the president's lies that led up to this insurrection. Fury with the president and his attack on our democratic institutions and the destruction that he's wrought. Frankly, embarrassment at how we look in the eyes of the rest of the world, and grave concern over the future. But at the same time, determination to do everything I can to protect our democracy, put us back on a path towards the rule of law. And this chapter can't end quickly enough from my point of view.
One more thing about the insurrection that occurred a couple of days ago. You, as being on the House Intelligence Committee, are aware of what sort of top secret types of materials may or may not be in the offices or in other facilities within the Capitol. Do you know whether any of that material has either been breached, accessed, taken?
Well, I don't know, but I think and hope that it's unlikely because I know in terms of the House Intelligence Committee and the Senate Committee, which holds the highest classified information, that place that we call the bunker is literally a bunker. I mean, it has very heavy doors, like doors to a safe. And I don't see how anyone could have penetrated those spaces. Now, there may be other secure places within the Capitol that are permitted to have classified information, and I don't know the status there. But I think the most profound injury, frankly, to our national security is less the access to documents and more the precedent that has been set by this president, the license he has given to a mob to attack the Capitol, and the degree to which he appears ready to continue his instigation.